Okay, today we're going to talk about the windshield wiper system I've been working on. I wanted to do a two wiper system, but as of now I've only got one installed, and I don't even know if I'll be doing the second one, and I will explain to you why. On the 2021 that I have, there is a long brace at the front of the roof. It's plastic. It could easily be cut, but with the UTV 801 windshield I'm using, this windshield is nice and thick, and it has a nice brace that comes around and matches up with that portion of the roof in the front, and it bolts to it. So I don't want to cut that portion of the roof out. I don't want to cut that portion of the windshield off. So that makes it very difficult to install two windshield wiper motors of decent quality in this vehicle. So what I went with was, I think they're Wexco. I'll give you links in the description. I went with a Wexco. It comes with the switch and the motor. They were $99. This switch here was on the top, but if you just undo the screws, you can mount it on the bottom, because it sits over here and it interfered with the roof also. So once I saw that this was going to interfere, I could have mounted it upside down, but then the lower part of the motor, hung down right in front of my face on the windshield. So I had to decide what I was going to do. I looked at a lot of windshield wiper motors. I couldn't find any that continued the size of the motor. They all seem to have the motor and then get really wide at the end. So I'm going to continue my search. Now, I do have a Chinese one that I might be able to get away with, but it's a single speed. It's a really cheap motor. I really wasn't pleased with it. I just don't see it lasting long. I don't see it working well. I don't think it has a lot of torque. So that's the reason I went with the larger motor. So now this is what I did. I did a lot of measuring, and I came up with this template that I made. And since there's already a 1/2 inch hole for a windshield wiper from UTV 801, I just used that hole, and I took a 1/2 inch bolt, put it through the windshield, and then put this over it. That held it in place, and then that was my pilot hole. I moved 2 3/4 inches over from the center of the original 1/2 inch hole, and that's where I have my current one mounted. Now, the problem comes in on the passenger side motor, because in order to put two motors in and have them work properly, not only would the first motor have to be way over to the left from where I have it, which would have been fine, the problem comes in with this motor. Here's your 1/2 inch hole, and it's right underneath where the roofing frame starts and the windshield frame starts. So in order to move that hole over 2 3/4 inches, now I'm even further into this support and the roof structure. So since I don't want to cut that, I can't put another Wexco motor up there. The first motor should really be probably around another 4 or 5 inches to the left, maybe 3 or 4 inches. And then the other motor would probably be right about there. So because of the roof, I can't do the second motor. So then I kind of thought, well, what am I going to do? So I decided just to do one motor for now with one big blade. I'm using a 15-inch blade, which is the largest you can go. So what I did was I just went the 2 3/4 inches over, like I showed you in the template. I flipped the switch around to the bottom from the top, and it fit fine there. So in doing that, where it's located, here we are. There's your 15-inch blade. I'm using a Marineco wiper arm, which again I'll give you the link to, and that 15-inch blade I just went to AutoZone and bought. I think it was $10.99 or $12.99. Let me give you an idea of the also there's a little secondary, I don't know if you can see it in there, mounting screw for the end of the motor. Let me see if I lift this up and you can see it right there. There's a little 5mm screw that I have there that mounts to the outside frame of the Wexco inside. just to stabilize it while it's turning. So that's what I did, and it covers more than half the windshield, and I'll give you a demonstration in a minute. And it's got 2 speeds in park, so it goes back to, you know, where it's supposed to go. It flips up and goes up. So here's what I used. I used this 15-inch blade from AutoZone. And you could pretty much use any 15-inch blade as long as it has a bayonet fitting. So what's a bayonet fitting? This is a bayonet fitting, okay? It's just flat with that little dimple on it. And the reason is because these wiper motors, since they have this 1/2-inch drum, it's difficult to find an arm for them that you can use. One, you're going to need an adjustable arm so that you can, this one, see how it's got the screw here? The head pivots and clicks in different directions, left and right, and then when you find the angle you want, you tighten the screw and it stays there. The other thing it does is that the arm itself, lengthwise, is adjustable. So you lift this little part here, and then you can slide the arm out as long as you know it can go, or you can shorten it. And then when you get it to the size you want, you just lock the little latch down again, and it's locked in there. So the reason for that is that's how I was able to use a 15-inch blade. It's an adjustable arm, and then when you get up here to park, you'll see that the arm on the pivot is pivoted up slightly so it's straight with the top of the windshield. So that's why you want the pivoting arm and you want the length adjustment. What I found is that not only are all blades measured differently, like I had another 15-inch, it was only 14 1/4. I had another 15-inch, it was 15 1/8. This one was almost exactly 15. Some were 14 3/4. So your wipers make a difference. I had some other, I measured them in stores. I went into Walmart, I measured them, and they were all different. I just bought this one because when I put it on and tested it, it adjusted quickly and it fit, so I kept it. I'll probably look for a better quality wiper. This is just a cheap Chinese wiper. I think this is AutoZone's brand. They're not that great. But it is a metal frame as opposed to a plastic, which is good. And then most of your wipers that are down in the 15-inch size, they come with the little adapters so that you can snap the adapter into the wiper blade arm, and then you can just stick the bayonet right into it, so it adapts them for a bayonet adapter. They came with the Duralast wiper. Now, the wiper arm, this is it. It's the Marineco. It's the 10-inch to 14-inch. Okay, and I think it's part number, is it right there? 33012A is the part number. Okay, I picked it up on Amazon. I think it was like 20 bucks. Again, wiper arms can be cheaper, but this one adjusts on the end, it adjusts on the length. Now, here's the problem. They make a shorter version that I think does from 6 to 11 or 6 to 10. The problem is that one's too short for the largest blade, the 15-inch. Maybe if you're going to go with a 12-inch blade or a 13-inch blade, it might work out for you. But I needed to be able to go out a little bit longer. Now, the problem with that is, and I'll show you on these adjustable blades, is everything's riveted together. You can see in there, when this slides back on the arm that's sliding back, you'll see like a little dimple. See it in there? Okay, so that dimple keeps it from sliding all the way out. And then the pin is riveted in, so you're kind of stuck with that. So what I did was, on the longer arm, the 10 to 14, I pulled the arm out all the way, and then I cut it right here on this line, right on the edge of the arm cover. I cut it off, and then what happened was I was able to shake the piece with the dimple down into the opening, and then it fell out. And then I just slid the arm back in, because all the dimple does is keep the arm from coming completely out. It's not what holds the arm stable while it's operating. And then I slid it in and then adjusted it to the length I wanted. And once I got it to the length I wanted, locked it closed, and it works fine. So the size I bought was kind of like, it was this 10-inch to 14-inch. Then I cut that piece off and it works fine. The other thing I did was, the Wexco motor comes with these brass nuts, but they're really skinny, really small. And I wanted something a little bit more substantial to push against the rubber washer. I noticed that when I started tightening these, the rubber washer was getting destroyed. So from McMaster Car, I got these. They're the same metric thread, and I'll again give you a link in the description. I got these nice big ones. You can see the difference. And this with a washer pushed against the rubber grommet very nicely, as well as from the outside. I used one on the inside to space the motor back from the windshield, because you needed to space it back, or else the drum was too close to the roof. You couldn't get the wiper arm on, so I did have to space it back. And on the other mounting screw on the end of the motor here, I had to use a little spacer there so that when I spaced it away from the windshield, so that it ended up being close in there, it doesn't hit the roof. And you can see the nut that I used there. And then I used some blue Loctite on it, because you don't want to wrench down too hard on those rubber washers. You want them semi-tight to stop any leakage, but you don't want to crush the rubber. So I put some blue Loctite in there to keep everything nice and snug. And then I'll show you let me get some soapy water here. Where is the soapy water? There it is. Alright, so we'll give a little soapy water on here. So let it slide, you'll be able to see the area that it cleans. We'll come in here. It's a 2-speed with park. So first we'll put it on the slow speed. You can see it. And get an idea how much of the windshield it's cleaning. So I'd say it cleans about half, maybe a hair more. Alright, and then I'll show you the other speed. It's pretty quiet. Doesn't draw a lot of current, under 3 amps, like 2.72, 2.73 amps. So I only put a 5 amp fuse on it for now. Who knows, it may pop when it's under duress, you know. But for now, it ran dry on the windshield and it was fine. So if I need to, I can always up the fuse size. But I figure if it's only drawing less than 3 amps, I'll put 5. We'll see what we get. I never like to overfuse. I'd rather under it have it pop and then go up a little one. So that is the single wiper so far that I'm going with. Again, if you don't have the UTV 801 windshield, maybe you want to cut your Yamaha roof. I mean, I don't want to. Even if I didn't have the windshield frame bolted there, I don't think I would want to cut that. So that's where I am with that. When I come up with a better solution, if I can find some better wiper motors that don't get so wide at the end that would fit in there without cutting the roof, then we'll go back and we'll make some changes and we'll go to 2 wipers. But in the meantime, that's what I'm sticking with. So thanks for watching. See you soon.